Welcome back. We are here today for the Share Parenting podcast, and we are interviewing Missy from Restoring Amethyst, and she has got all kinds of goodies to share with us. So if you wouldn't mind, Missy, introducing yourself for our audience.
Of course. My name is Missy. I'm a mom of two. My daughter just turned 8 and my son is 6. But I have plenty of experience with children. Before I was a mom, I was a teacher. And then for a little while as a mom, I also taught as well. So childhood kids, they've always been in my realm, even before I was a mom. So while I have experience with birthing my own two kids, I've had lots of kiddos in my care.
Same. I did elementary and early childhood, so
Oh, nice.
it's a fun experience, and it's nice to have the different experiences because you cannot have all the kids.
No.
But you can definitely experience different kinds of kids and different kinds of needs when you're in a setting like that.
That's for sure. Recently, I taught 4K, so that was a very fun experience. That's a fun age.
Nice. Yeah, how fun. I love that. So what are you up to these days?
These days, I actually homeschool.
Awesome.
Me and my kids, we do a little bit of unschooling, nature-based, child-led learning. It's kind of like a full simmer pot full of lots of experiences.
Yeah, a little eclectic.
Yes, for sure. I definitely don't fit into one category or the other.
Totally.
But I like a little bit of all of it thrown in there. So
Awesome.
I homeschool, and then I also am an energy healer. So I do lots of things like that, lead meditations, those sorts of things. But currently, my biggest thing is that I am writing a book about motherhood and my experience with motherhood, my own sort of awakening. It was really my kids who awakened me to understanding so much about myself. If I hadn't become a mother, I'm not sure that's a journey I would have ever really delved into. I changed everything when I became a mom. And so I'm writing mostly about emotional intelligence and understanding emotions in a new way than what we were taught when we were younger. A lot of that inner work, reparenting style.
Yeah, I love it. And I completely agree. I think that our children come here to teach us something, and there is a unique journey in becoming a mother, entering motherhood, and allowing that experience to radically shift your perception on the world and yourself and all of the things. And I agree. I don't think I ever would have healed in as many ways had it not been for what my children required of me, what they needed to follow their journeys, and how that called me out in a lot of ways. So tell me a little bit about what's different. So when you're talking emotions, emotional intelligence, how has that differed in your experience with your children than your experience as a child?
So one of the biggest things, I wrote some notes just in case because I kind of will word vomit. I'm going to try to stay a little on track, but I'll probably still go all over. One of the things is that what we don't realize is that when we focus so deeply on emotions and fixing things for our kids, and then also, teaching sadness or anger are bad emotions. Happiness is the only really good emotion that you can feel. We unintentionally create a savior complex, right? We create unintentional codependency from our children. When they think everything needs to be fixed and they should be happy constantly 20 us to do it because maybe we're feeling guilty about this or guilty about that, and so we think, well, maybe we should just give them this or do that. Then that codependency comes in and they're used to that and they want that from us. Then we feel drained by their energy and our emotions get big. We show these big emotions, but they're not able to show those big emotions. It's okay if mom gets mad, but it's not okay for them to get mad in that sort of way. Then we create this uncomfortable pot of just what is emotion, what is not in motion. And we have to learn that our self-worth is not linked to their emotions. Who we are is not linked to our child's emotions. I can share a story actually that just happened today. For the past few weeks, my son has struggled with cleaning up his room. He's not feeling it at all. And that's okay. That's valid. But
Oh no, I think we lost you.
so we're holding.
Your internet cut out for just a second. So you said that your son's been struggling with cleaning his room. That's valid. And then it cut out.
Oh no, we had a big storm here, and our power hasn't gone out, but it's gone out in some other places in town. So I was nervous about that. Hopefully, just fingers crossed it stays good. But yeah, that's valid, but his room needs to get cleaned, right? There's a responsibility there. So I validated the feelings, continued holding the boundaries, and I think that we think it has to be like, oh, if you do this, this will happen or that'll happen. We forget that being neutral is a superpower sometimes as parents.
Yeah.
Our kids don't need us to try to make this thing that they're upset about good. It can be upsetting to them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make us bad parents that they don't want to clean their room, and it doesn't make us bad parents for making them clean their room.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And then today, it was time for him to clean up. And he went in his room, and I heard him talking to his sister. And he said, now that I'm not upset about it anymore, it's actually really no big deal.
Aww.
And I was like, huh, okay. And what I did was let him feel that emotion all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
There was no fixing. The emotion doesn't need fixing.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to feel it, to understand the depths.
Oh, it keeps cutting you up. To feel the depths of it. Yes.
Yeah, to come out with that lesson, right? The
Well,
lesson.
I think that is so important because as the leader in our home, as the coach, as the teacher, part of what we're teaching our kids is that emotions come up and then they come down. And if we cut that off, they don't get to learn the coming down part. Whether we cut that off with some sort of anger or frustration or punishment, or we cut that off with some sort of bribery or distraction, we're still cutting it off. And their body, their nervous system, their brain doesn't get to learn. It will come up and it will go down. You can trust this process.
Yes, we pause it. And then we want there to be no emotional tension, but that's all that's there because it's still there.
Yeah,
like you said, get to finish. It's still in their nervous system. And unintentionally, what has happened is that we have now made the focus on emotions so much, right? And we do this in so many ways as parents. I was just talking to my husband about how we say things, let me restart that. We say things like, oh, time to clean your room. If we say that to our child for the first time ever hearing it, they think, what's bad about cleaning my room? They don't know unless we put the emotion into it at first, right? I mean, over time, they may develop going, I don't want to do this. But there are things we unintentionally put emotion into as parents.
Because we approach it as if it's going to be a problem.
Yes. But emotions they're simply a part of life. They're just a part of going through and navigating things. And the less pressure and attention we put on the emotion, which is hard because we were not raised that way. Most of us were raised, that this emotion is bad, it's wrong, don't do that. There are negative consequences. So our bodies and our nervous systems get stressed out at the thought of it because we're trying to keep ourselves safe. That inner child inside, right, is like, no, this is not okay.
We don't do this. I learned.
Yes. And then there's the shame that comes. You think to yourself, is my child horrible for this feeling? Because that is how you felt. But really, this is just what we're supposed to experience.
Yeah. We're humans.
We're humans.
All the things.
All the things. Every single one of them.
Another example that I noticed with one of my kids who gets a lot of anxiety about not being perfect at school. And I homeschool too. So it can come up in any subject that we're doing. And I found myself, dreading the emotions because it's a lot and wanting to minimize it. Like, look, we're just going to do a little bit. It's not going to be that bad, that kind of energy.
Oh, yeah.
And what I learned is what helps him is to own it and go, it is hard. It's absolutely hard. It's completely overwhelming today. I hear you. This is a hard day. And we're going to do it.
Yes.
And being able to honor that that's real for him, it felt invalidating for me to be like, it'll be fine. It's just a little bit. All of those little tactics, which weren't even true. Like it was true to my body, but it wasn't true to his.
Right.
And I was not conscious of it. And when I was able to become conscious of it, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to do that different.
Yes.
It's a big difference for him to be able to be in a space where he's like, yeah, this is hard. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's hard. I accept that. I can accept you in that.
Because in that case, right, I do this too. It's my son as well that has the harder time with those types of things. When we do this and we think we're doing it for the betterment, right? We're like, okay, just a little bit. And there are times, I will say there are those times that you just know, right? Like
absolutely.
We're going to shift. But
reducing isn't the issue, I don't think. It's the wording and the attitude of like, but it's only a small amount, which inherently means so then you don't get to have those feelings.
Yes. And then that's their when they're at that level of feeling.
Yeah.
Every time they want it minimized. And every time they're like, can I only do a little bit? I'm stressed. And you're like, wait, no. You can't be stressed about this every day. That's also not, wait a minute. Yeah, let me reframe this.
Yeah.
And just say, it is hard.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. But
we're going to do a hard thing today.
Yes. And that's okay. And it's okay to make a mistake. They have to know that they'll be loved through that hard, right?
Yeah.
And we think in so many ways, no matter how long we've been doing this conscious parenting or these different types of parenting, our brain still does that at times because we get overwhelmed as well. And we think to ourselves, oh, if we just, minimize it here or fix it there, but really just letting them feel it all the way through. I had a friend come to me and say, I don't know what to do because my daughter just, I'll ask her, do you want to go in your room? And she'll say no, and she'll be crying. I'll be like, well, do you want me to get you a snack or this or that? And she's like, she just keeps saying no. I said, all she needs is you. She just wants you to sit with her. She goes, am I doing enough if I do that? I said, you're doing absolutely everything. Let her feel it all the way through. She doesn't have to talk about it. She doesn't have to do anything, and neither do you.
Yeah.
And we overcomplicate these things because we're trying to figure it out for ourselves.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's so foreign, the idea of somebody just sitting in the muck with you. That's
right.
an unusual experience for most people. Most people don't experience that.
Yes.
And it's incredible when you do. When you've got that friend that can just sit in it and it's ugly and it's messy and they're like, yep, I'm still here.
Yes.
I mean, it is incredible to have those people. And parents will tell me, they're like, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, but you are. You're sitting in it with them. They're not alone. They are learning from your body and your nervous system. I can do this.
Yes.
I can feel this and survive.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
It's huge. And when going back to the other part of thinking that they need to be happy all the time, we set them up for being
for failure.
Satisfied. Yes. And just satisfied with life and actual calm moments or content moments.
More neutral.
More neutral. I wasn't happy though.
Yeah, I'm just driving. Nothing's bad, but I'm also not joyful about driving.
Yes.
It just is.
It just is. And so when we make them think that every day, if it's not a happy day, it's a failure. Well, then what are we teaching them? Especially if we've connected that savior complex and that codependency, and then they see us going through hard things. Now we've tangled this web of our, if I can help mom, maybe mom can help me.
Yeah. And it's such a dangerous thing for a little kid to think that they have to fix our feelings.
Absolutely.
No.
That is one of the biggest problems with that codependency.
Yeah.
Because they rely on us in a way that we can't live up to, right?
No, because you can't actually control somebody else's feelings. It's fake.
Exactly. So then they think that, but they don't understand that because it's so big and overwhelming to them. They just think, mom can make me happy and mom can fix this or whatever. And so then we get to this place where they're like, well, mom is sad. So if I make mom happy, she can, fix all these. And then we're just tangled up in all these connections and all of these things that we don't need to feel. And it seems so complicated, but the truth is actually just so simple. Just accepting the simplicity that emotions are just a part of us. They're just teachers. That means
And
there's
our
something
children,
deeper.
our children need to learn how to feel sad and how to feel grief and how to feel disappointed and how to feel lonely and how to feel bored and how to feel happy and joyful and excited and how to feel neutral. To just be like, it is what it is. All of that. They are not just born having any identifying words or concepts around these things. They're learning them. And so when we're going, oh no, my 2-year-old's so sad, he can't be sad. We're like, what do you mean? How's he gonna live if he can't be sad?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
He's gonna feel sad about this and be okay. It's both.
Yes, absolutely. So taking that pressure off of us as parents, right? That's healing for us. That's so much more energy and space that we can give our kids and ourselves, right? Yeah. But the biggest thing, I think, is teaching all of these great, wonderful lessons to ourselves first. Mm-hmm. Because how can we teach this to our kid? We can teach them with our words, but if we don't model it, right? Like if we don't give that grace and space for our own emotions.
Yeah.
And if we don't if we don't learn that it's okay sometimes for us not to be happy, or these different things, we can say it all we want to our kids, but they know the difference.
Absolutely. They can feel our energy about it. And so I'll have a parent tell me, like, what's wrong with me? I just feeling down and I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't snap out of it. And I'm like, well, maybe you need to rest. Your body's smart. If you're feeling really down and don't want to do a whole lot, maybe it's because you need to not do a whole lot right now.
Yeah.
What if that's okay to have that moment, that season where you don't sign up for all of the things and go to all of the events?
Mm-hmm.
What if that's what your body needs right now? And it's so foreign for them if they were raised in a performance equals love kind of family. It's terrifying to give themselves permission to just say, I'm going to nope out of that. Like, not for me. And I think that really is such an important part of being able to create that safety for your child, is creating it for yourself. So I would love for you to share with us, how did you begin to even identify that was a need for yourself?
So for me, actually, it started when I was pregnant with my daughter. So I was raised very religious. My self-worth was absolutely 1000% wrapped up in how much I could do for other people. Mm-hmm. I had no identity outside of that, outside of serving, outside of giving. There was no balance for me in that area of life. And when I got pregnant with my daughter, something inside of me, I can't explain it. I got panicked. And I thought to myself, I'm having a girl. She can never feel this. I just was like, I can't tell her these things about herself. Yeah. Like I can't raise her this way. I can't look at this little girl and tell her the things that I've been told. Mm-hmm. So I started I was like, what is this? Like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I had never really searched outside of what I had already known. Mm-hmm. And that's when I tapped in and started learning about inner child healing and what my inner child needed and how to parent. It's so much healthier if you have an understanding of your own inner child first. Mm-hmm. And I'm very lucky that that's what I stumbled across first, because there's so many different things out there, right? But the healing process and the grieving process, I think for me, even all these years later, is still lifelong in some senses.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I can know it and I can understand it and I can feel it.
And then life will give you opportunities to practice.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So for me, it started with just understanding that I didn't even know who I was, really. And then ironically, I jump into different types of healing modalities, right? Which I love and I resonate with. But then I had to stop and say, how come you jumped right from helping people this way to helping people this way? Like, where are you still? Still searching for myself in that sense.
Yeah.
Still trying to understand myself. And I think that that will be a lifelong journey for sure. But yeah, I just understood when I read about it that this is what I was missing. This is what I was feeling, was this need. I was a child who was definitely to be seen and not heard when I was younger. I grew up in a, an emotionally abusive household, and had lots of things going on around me, lots of loud, out of control sort of type situations. So I learned to be very quiet and very inward. That was my safety. So then growing up and then falling into more of that religious role, it's easy to fall into that. And it's so easy to put your needs down, like you were saying, performance based, right? Like for me, it was, what did I do enough for other people today to be able to go to sleep happy? And I had to learn, like, I'm deserving of rest the moment I wake up, if I need it, if I need 5 minutes. And it's okay that my house is messy tonight because my stomach hurts, or maybe it doesn't, and I just want to sit down. And it sounds so silly and it sounds so simple, and it's so many people hear these things, right? And they're like, okay, yeah, but really it is actually the most simple things that we have to relearn for ourselves,
because it builds upon itself.
Yes.
Casey Davis, with How to Keep House When You're Drowning, she says in her book that mess is morally neutral. And it is such a profound statement, because so many people are raised the opposite.
Yes.
And even hearing it, you're like, well, duh. But at the same time, you're like, oh, really? Like there's this double, at least for me, there was this almost double reaction of like, well, yeah, I'm not going to judge somebody because they didn't make their bed. I don't care. But then that also has to apply to me.
Yes. Because if somebody was coming and you knew they might see your bed, you would have made it. Yes, exactly. And it's that it goes into that giving. It goes into that place of being raised. I think no matter how you were raised, a lot of us as females, no matter what, we're kind of raised with certain roles or different things. Yes, expectations. And sometimes I try to remind people, I'm not saying everybody had a horrible childhood. Some of it's not intentional.
Sometimes the intention is great. It's like, I'm trying to teach you how to be a successful wife and how to be a great mother. And this is my vision of that. I want to bestow it upon you. And I know that was hard for my mom because I have ADHD and she does not. She loves cleaning and organizing and is a tidy human. I am not, ever, have never been. And I think that was so challenging for her because she didn't know what to do with me. It was infuriating because it felt like a failure of her that I wasn't like her in that way. And, it led to a lot of shaming and stuff like that it was like, I can look at it now and see the panic of like, you can't be like this.
Yeah.
And, spoiler alert, yes, I can.
It had nothing to do with her.
Great mother, great life. Like, and I'm really not a successful, like, cleaner. My home is perfectly fine. There's not mold or rotting anything. There's no smells. Like, it's fine. But is it a magazine tidy home? Never.
I'm right there with you. Same. Absolutely. I'm not an Instagram aesthetically pleasing home. I don't want to be. That's not my goal. But
I love it. I have friends with it, and it's beautiful.
Yes, I like to see it.
I choose a different lifestyle. I choose to dump a puzzle on the floor and do it with my 4-year-old. And I choose to let them get themselves their food and make a mess on the table. And, I've chosen different and I've made peace with that. And it's been years of actively working on those particular pieces because of the permission that I had to give myself to make that choice for me, different than other people. And I think that comes into play with the permission to give yourself the right to feel.
Yes. And that's why in my book, I also am writing calls to action, right? Because we can get stuck. Now, this is like another lovely wormhole we can go down. We can get all this knowledge on emotion, but still get stuck in the cycle of it. Like, how many unhealthy cycles have we gotten into? Then we get stuck with this focus of, oh, and this emotional thing and this emotional thing. And if we don't implement action, because our body and our mind are connected, right? We need to move and use that somatic type of healing through different actions or things, and just forward movement in general.
Yes.
And so by taking this knowledge and not just going, this is great to know, and then because this is, what I'm guilty of, that's how I know how to share it, right? And then I'm washing the dishes and I'm like, and I need to know this, yep, and I need to know this. Nope. Wait, nope, I gotta calm down. Nothing is wrong, right? You're emotionally getting a little bit worked up sometimes if you overthink the emotional balance you're trying to create.
And it stops you from this somatic experience, because that's one of my former common strategies is intellectualizing. I'll think my way out of it, but goodness, I don't want to feel it. And having to go, nope, I'm going to have to feel this one.
Yes, absolutely. So I feel it's just a whole experience in and of itself, all of it.
Yes.
Can
you share a call of action for us?
A call of action for validating your own emotions?
Whatever you choose. Anyone you think should be shared today.
Let me think. Well, I like to practice personally. One that I'm really, really stuck on right now is EFT tapping.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of that. I love it because I can do it in front of my kids. I can do it anywhere that I am. And EFT tapping is meridian lines in your body. And they use acupressure points on your body, kind of like acupuncture almost, but just in a different way. And it can help your mind actually reframe your thoughts.
Nice.
It's like an entire nervous system reset. So I will use some like super simple EFT tapping. There's entire like EFT going all through the whole body. But if I don't have enough time to do all of it, what I love about EFT is that it actually focuses on the negative emotion. So when you're feeling it at that moment, that's when you want to do it.
Okay.
If you are ever like gonna go get an EFT tapping session, they'll actually bring you to that state first. So if you're already there, you're halfway there, right? And so you can even take I like this part right here, and you can take 2 fingers and you tap and you say an affirmation could say, even though I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, I trust I am safe in my body. And you continue to over and over realign until your energy comes back to center and focus. And we could do another one of these calls if you'd like, and I can run through a whole session worth the head and everywhere, the whole point.
That would be great. Yeah.
What it does is that when you focus on that negative emotion enough and you're focusing on this point, it allows
balance, it feels like.
Yes. I lost you. One of the more sillier things that I like to do if someone's like, I don't know about that, right? I just want you to put on music. Some music, any music you love. Now, some people really want to get super hype up music, but I actually prefer ballads. I want to sing.
I love singing ballads.
And I just put them on, and I'm cooking or I'm in the living room with my kids. Yeah. And I'm like, Mom needs a minute. And you just shake that body out. You release it. And people are like, really? Just that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as simple as that, because you're overwhelmed. You don't have that much to give. You don't need to force yourself to go through an entire 15-minute meditation with your kids climbing on you, going, Mom, Mom, you can make time for that when it feels right. But in that moment, when you're feeling that and you're overwhelmed and you've gone through the cycle too much, what you need is that reset. So by tapping or by singing it out, dancing it out, moving your body. When the weather is nice, I'll just be like, we're getting outside. Ground your feet on the earth for a few minutes. Those different types of things. And I love, a lot of the book talks about mindfulness, consciousness, being able to implement mindfulness into your day-to-day. Because our subconscious is formed by like age 7. So we're working through things still as adults that kept us safe back then. Things that we figured out. So what my son taught me is that we have an inner alarm that goes off. And when that alarm goes off, our body shuts down. Fight, flight, freeze, wherever we go, right? And so when we're trying to rework these habits, we have to trust and understand that the reason we feel that way is because our body loves us.
Yes.
It's trying to keep us safe. Like it's done all these years. Like, how amazing is it that we've made it through every single day of our life?
Right.
All of these hard days. But when we feel that, it's so easy to run. It's so easy, that's what your body wants you to do. But it's time for you to take back that mindfulness and that consciousness and say, we're safe now.
I love it.
We're okay to do this and to change. And one of my most favorite super simple mindfulness techniques is like on your hand somewhere, you place like a heart or a star, or on your wrist. When you see it throughout the day, you stop and you pause and you either say something kind to yourself or you check in. Maybe it's both. But every time you see it, you think, I have a really good life and I'm safe right now. Or you see it and you go, do I need water? Am I hungry? Okay, and you're checking in with your body, allowing yourself to calm, to get into that state. Because a lot of us, because our subconscious was formed so young, when we still needed that care and connection for survival, we feel like we're still in that state all of the time.
Yeah.
And that's what heightens our emotions, why we want our kids' emotions to be calm and quiet, why we're like, don't disturb.
Yeah.
And when we can get out of survival mode and into just contentment, just neutral energy, you don't have to go from being so sad to be the most joyful human ever.
Yeah.
Just that base of safety, right?
Yeah.
Just that base of security and understanding that everything is okay, then we can build from there.
Yes, I completely agree. I'm super excited. So, do you have any estimate on when your book might be ready? I know I want to have you back on when it's released so that you can tell us all to go get it.
I don't yet. I am working on it, but I can't do just one thing. It's a problem. No, maybe it's not actually. Maybe I'm just gonna accept that it's not. So I am working on it. But I would say definitely before the end of the year.
That's so exciting. I love it. Congratulations
I'm
too.
for 6 months, but thank you so much.
Yeah, mine was it took me a while to write like the first half, and then I wrote most of the second half in 10 days because I just got well, first of all, we went on a trip. So my husband and my in-laws took my kids, did everything, and I just we were in a cabin in the mountains. There's like no anything, and I just like locked myself in a room and wrote 12 hours a day. And I wrote a chapter a day. So the last 10 chapters I wrote in 10 days. And then of course I had to edit it and do all of that. But it was really funny because, I do things in my own pace. Some things take longer and I'm good with that. And I was definitely doing the slow and steady, and then just all the stars aligned. So
that was awesome.
But I'm excited. I'm really excited to see it come together. I think it's a very necessary thing for people to read and to understand and to incorporate into their life, for their children, but also for themselves. Like, we deserve this too. And in taking care of ourselves in that way, we will be better for our kids too. So
Yes.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been I feel like we could just chat forever here.
Right. I wish the internet was behaving a little bit better,
Same.
but it's been wonderful to have you, and we are definitely going to have you back. And it sounds like we'll have you back twice, once for EFT and then once for your book release.
I would love that. That would be great.
Awesome. Perfect. How can anybody find you? Do you have a Facebook page or website or anything like that?
So I'm actually in the middle of like transitioning a little bit. I do have a Facebook page, Restoring Amethyst, which is for my energy healings and stuff like that. But I've always had this call and this connection with motherhood. That's I don't want to dive too deep into it, but like when my kids went to school for a little bit of time and things got jumbled and I'm finally coming back to like my normal, my true path, you could say. So I've created an Instagram that's for that sort of thing.
Love
That's
that.
and then my energy healing business gets to be for me. You know what I mean? Because I love like creating homeschool resources. I love sharing about real life motherhood, like in these moments and stuff like that. And it just didn't mesh super well. It does because I mean, I do my spiritual practices in motherhood, but some of my clients are like, this is very random. You know, they're
it's totally fair to separate them.
Yeah.
So if you're cool with it, we'll put both links. That way people can kind of pick where they want to be.
That sounds great. Yes, I would love that.
Yay! I'm so excited. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, and I look forward to hearing from you again. And until next time, I will see everyone later.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.